Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Gorman, the owner of Creative Computing, Princeton's only Apple specialist store, located at 423 Wall Street, across from the Princeton Airport. Welcome to our show, Apple Talk by Creative Computing. Here we discuss everything Apple, from products to software, even technical issues. I'm Jeff. Today we're going to start with Apple's big announcement of the week, the new iPad. It's not the iPad 3, it is the new iPad. It has a lot of new capabilities that the iPad 2 did not, even though it's the same size. The most important thing about it is the new Retina display. It has a 2048 by 1536 resolution. That's 3 times the pixel density of the iPad 2 and its predecessor, the iPad 1. What that means, it doesn't mean like a computer where more pixels is a bigger screen. It means more pixels in the same spot, which means that every image that you see on the iPad is sharper, crisper. It also has 44% better color saturation, so the colors are going to be deeper and richer. Everything about the video is nice. It can also do 1080p, which you will see when you watch your movies, Netflix, or whatever on the new iPad. We will have the new iPad on Friday, and please come in and get one. What else? The iPad is driven by the A5X processor, which gives it the processing power to handle all of that video, to let you see everything with the crisp clarity of the Retina display. It allows faster apps to run, and it basically makes everything you do with the iPad zippier. The new iPad has a 5-megapixel camera, which can take 1080p video. So when you use the iPad as a camera, the video that you take is very sharp, will be HD from the get-go, will look great on every display that you use. You can play it right from the iPad to a device such as a television using AirPlay, which is Apple's method of wireless streaming, or you can hook up a wire and connect it to various devices that way. Whatever you do, though, the video will look great. The camera also has face detection, where it can identify in the scenes that you're shooting up to 10 faces, and it will it'll do white balance and light balancing to optimize the focus on those 10 faces. This also takes advantage of the A5X processor. Without that kind of processing capability, you would not be able to adjust the video of 10 faces on the fly. Another big thing about the new iPad is it takes advantage of the 4G LTE cellular network offered by AT&T, Verizon, and presumably everybody shortly. All the companies are doing their build-out now, and the iPad can take advantage of it. It's one of the few devices out there that can. Another nice thing on the iPad 3, or iPad 3rd generation, I got to not call it iPad 3, is Bluetooth 4.0, Smart Bluetooth. Smart Bluetooth allows a device to connect to low-power Bluetooth devices. In some cases, things like sensors that only activate intermittently when they send something. Many devices all at the same time. And the best advantage of this is much, much lower power use on your Bluetooth. This is one of the things that helps the iPad get extensive battery life, even though it has all of these features and the very fancy screen, the Retina display. Interestingly, Apple tends to lead the pack in technical innovation. They're always the one on the bleeding edge of technology. The same way that the new Macs have Thunderbolt and nobody else does, every Bluetooth 4.0 or smart Bluetooth device in existence is currently in Apple. It's available on the Mac Mini, the iPad, the iPhone 4S. And it'll be on every new Apple product that comes out going forward. One day, other companies might catch up. If you use every feature on the iPad, the new iPad, you will still get about 9 hours of battery life. That's using the cellular network, the Bluetooth, the Retina display, everything. Part of this is Apple has a better battery in this device and much, much better battery usage. It's excessively efficient, and in many tests you will get 9 to 10 hours of battery life. Very, very nice. And one last detail, which I think is actually the most important detail of them all. The new iPad has 1 gig of RAM. It comes in 3 sizes that you've heard of, the 16, 32, and 64 gig. That's storage. That's how you hold your apps and your songs and videos and everything else. But the 1 gig of RAM gives the iPad processing power. It lets it run the apps at top speed, lets it run bigger apps, more complicated apps, lets it handle fluid display on the Retina display. With all those pixels, you need a lot of memory and processing to make things work. The RAM is going to be the single biggest, I think, improvement to the day-to-day use of the iPad 3. RAM, just to clarify, the difference between the RAM and the storage space. The storage space, the 16, 32, and 64 gigs are like a bookshelf in your house, and the RAM is like your brain. It's very easy to have a huge bookshelf, but you can only read one book at a time. With 1 gig of RAM in the iPad 2, the iPad can now read 2 or 3 books at a time. You can still store as many books as you want in the 16, 32, or 64 gigs. And, of course, the iPad will be available at Creative Computing on Friday. We're not sure of the time yet, and the old iPad 2 is still available. There is one more feature I neglected to mention. The new iPad can be a wireless hotspot for the first time. That means that if you get the 4G iPad, you can connect it to the internet and via the cellular network and let various computers, older iPads, phones, or whatever connect via it as a router and get internet access. So if you're in the car, say, with your iPad 3, your kids' iPhones or iPods can have internet access. You can stream movies, whatever you like. What's nice about this is it's a very fast portable router. The iPhone can do it also, but it's a nice feature on the iPad 3. And the iPhone cannot yet do the 4G LTE. It's coming, but not yet. Okay. Apple's other new announcement of recent is the Apple TV. The Apple TV, like before, you connect it to your television, and it does the same things it did before. You can stream music and video to it wirelessly, or on a wired network in your house. The music and video can come from your computer, your iPad, your iPod, your phone, any iTunes device, really anything. Or you can you can use the remote control and use it directly to access your iTunes libraries in your house, your photos, Netflix, a whole bunch of sports channels, whatever you like. It does a ton of things. The new Apple TV is 1080p. That's its biggest single enhancement. So now you can get high-def movies. And the Apple online store is upgraded to provide HD movies for rental. Apple uses a very advanced streaming technology which lets the movies come through without using your internet connection. It does a very good rate of compression. It uses H.264 compression, which allows these HD videos to come through nice and crisp, no buffering issues. I'm sure you've seen like Netflix or something where it stutters. No stutter. The iTunes Store movies with the new Apple TV will look awesome in 1080p. There are rumors you may have heard of Apple having a new actual television. This is interesting. I go back and forth a few ways with this. Apple could make a television, but everybody's home is different. People like different sizes. I'm not certain that it makes sense for Apple to produce the TV. On the other hand, what I've heard is that Apple will be coming out with 2 or 3 specific sizes, and they are the most common ones. I think it was 32, 42, and 52-inch TVs. What would be interesting about an Apple TV is this. Right now, when you want to watch a TV show, you have your regular Apple TV, the little device that we just talked about, connected to your television, and you have your cable, and you want to watch something that's on. You bring up your cable, you get out the guide, click, 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 and there's 10,000 shows. And by the time you've gone through and scanned them all to pick the best one, half of them are over. There's so many choices. Add to that an Apple TV with the iTunes Store, and it just goes through the roof. There are so many things. How do you know what you want to watch? Well, a couple of ideas that I believe might be in the new Apple TV, if it happens, are Siri, the talking technology that you've seen on television with the iPhone 4. With Siri, you could potentially say to your TV, Siri, put on Star Trek, and it will come back and say, these 3 episodes are on right now, or this 2 episodes in a movie. Which one would you like? I say this one, The Search for Spock, and it tunes it right in, and I get to watch my show. The Genius system that's in the iTunes Store, where the iTunes Store looks at the songs that you like to play and buy, or the movies, videos that you like to play and buy, will teach Apple about your likes and dislikes. Put that together with Siri, you should be able to say to the television, what's on that I'm going to like? And it should know. It come back and say, you like this Star Trek, you tend to watch the news. Here's some adventure movies that are on, or comedies, the things that you like based on your practices. You pick one, Siri tunes it in. You might even say to Siri, record that one and let me watch this one, and it will do that. And basically, it will learn as you go, so that the more you watch television, the more accurate its Genius listings get and the more helpful Siri becomes. I could see Siri being an excellent, excellent enhancement to the television. People have also asked, just one more point, another piece of my analysis here. People have also asked, why did they leave the name Siri? Why even have a name? And what's nice about Siri is that if you're watching TV and the TV is talking and you want to give Siri a command, Siri's a good word that's probably not coming out of the TV show that you're watching. You could say Siri, and the TV would know to pause the volume and hear what you want to say or ask. It's a very nice use of the name, and that's why I believe that the name has remained, so that you can have a way of having a word that you can speak that it will listen for. That's my little theory about the Apple TV that's coming out. What I would like to see, as part of this show too, is the current Apple TV with the cable card slot, which would let it, or even the Apple's own television, have a cable card slot so that you don't need your cable box. That would let the device itself tune in the channels or record multiple channels or do picture-in-picture and picture-in-picture. A whole bunch of capabilities. I'm not sure why they don't put a cable card slot. The only device I've seen besides a television that has one is a TiVo. So I'm not sure, but those are just my musings on the Apple TV. Other news in Apple land, or related to computers in general. Interestingly, Encyclopedia Britannica, that's been in print for 244 years, is no longer in print. Excuse me, there's some episodes left from there are copies of Britannica left from the 2010 edition, and when they sell out, they are not going to print it again. After 244 years, I just think it's an interesting turn of the evolution of technology. One of the biggest things that makes an encyclopedia more useful in an electronic format is that you can search within the articles, within the pages. The old book way, you'd get out the index, it would say, Thomas Jefferson on this volume, that volume, and this volume on these pages. You'd read those things, and that was that. Now, with the electronic version, you just search Thomas Jefferson, and you get the whole encyclopedia, a zillion other things, Monticello's website, whatever it is. The internet has really replaced the encyclopedia, and I just think that after 244 years, it's very interesting that the encyclopedia will no longer be printed. Wikipedia is a potential replacement encyclopedia that's been around for a few years, which users contribute content to. So everybody can add their knowledge to the encyclopedia now, not just the people at Britannica. Britannica, though, does have a very nice online edition. Next bit of news, Quicken for Lion is finally out. Everybody knows that with Intuit, you always have to wait while they catch up. They released a couple years ago Quicken Essentials because the Quicken 2007, the previous version, wouldn't work on all of the latest OSs. They released Quicken Essentials, which did the bare minimum, and lots of people complained about. Finally, just a couple days ago, Quicken for Lion came out. It brings the feature set back to Quicken to a high degree. It's not perfect yet, but they say there'll be more updates. Quicken, I would very much like to see Quicken do a better job. I hope they're watching the show and will hear my suggestions. There's no reason they can't separate the functionality from the hardware and make all of their versions do the same thing. Come on, Quicken, let's get it together. Next piece of news, macOS 10.7.4, the latest version of Lion, is in beta. It's been released, a number of updates have been released in beta. It should be out any day. It has a bunch of speed enhancements and a few bug fixes. I don't know if we'll get new features yet. I'm hoping that it causes or comes along with an upgrade to iPhoto with the photo stream so that you can delete photos from your photo stream. Not there yet. Everybody know about the photo stream? The PhotoStream is a nice technology where if you take a photo on your iPad, your new iPad, which you get at Creative Computing, your iPhone, your iPod, or even your digital camera, when you take the photo from the iOS device, iPhone, iPod, iPad, and you have Apple's free iCloud service, the photos automatically go to your PhotoStream as soon as your device has a Wi-Fi connection. It doesn't work over the cell system, no 3G, 4G. On your computer, when you empty your digital camera into iPhoto, any new photos go in the PhotoStream. They're supposed to stay for 30 days. While they're in the PhotoStream, any of these devices can see the photos from all of the others. Further, this is one of my favorite features with PhotoStream, you can set iPhoto to automatically import to the library any photos that appear on the PhotoStream. This means if you're out and about and you take a photo with your iPhone, then your iPhone gets an internet connection, Wi-Fi, the photo automatically goes to your PhotoStream. So if something happens to your phone, which unfortunately does happen from time to time, all of those photos aren't lost. Photos are a moment in time, and anything you can do to not lose a photo, you should do. PhotoStream makes that excessively easy, especially with the iOS devices. They're often out and about. You take a photo, you walk into the restaurant, it gets on Wi-Fi, your photo's saved in your library back at home. What else? Apple has a new patent that I find very interesting. It's not out in a device yet, but they just patented something called iWallet. iWallet is part of a technology to use what's called an NFC, Near Field Communications chip. The idea being that in your iPhone, if they put an NFC chip, and you go into whatever app it is on your phone and you program your credit card information, when you place your iPhone on one of those devices at the supermarket where you can touch, you see them above like registers at supermarkets, gas stations, whatever, the phone can transmit your credit card information. It only transmits about this far. So you don't have to worry about it being scanned from a mile away by somebody you don't want to have your information. It scans about this far and you can use your phone for payment, one less thing you have to carry. These aren't everywhere yet, but more and more. I've seen them on the New York City subway. You can just touch your NFC device, often it's a credit card, but an NFC device right to the reader and not have to have a Metro card or go to the booth. With an NFC chip in the iPhone, you could hold your iPhone right up to the turnstile at the subway and walk right on. Pay for your groceries, your gas, a whole bunch of places, convenience stores. It's a very nice technology. What else? There is a new Trojan out there. It's like a virus on your computer that called Flashback. You might see this. It's not really dangerous. If you get it on your computer, it will cause Safari to not necessarily go to the site you want or to potentially try to read passwords. It could get more dangerous. Right now, it doesn't do that. If the software tries to install itself, you will see a fake-looking software update come up. Just don't install it. When you get Apple's software update, you will recognize the Apple software update that you traditionally get. Take all of those updates. We highly advise that. If you're not sure what update it is and you want to be certain, just cancel whenever you see software update. You can go up on your Apple menu in the top left corner, choose software update. Those you can count on being legitimate. In a lot of other programs like Microsoft Office or Adobe's Creative Suite, on one of the menus, usually Help, sometimes File, you will see Check for Updates. All of those will launch their own update checker, and those are, again, totally legitimate. But basically, as long as you're careful, you're not going to get this Trojan. But it is out there, and I just want to quelch any rumors. No need to get all crazy. You're going to be fine. That's it for what I have for today's show. I'd like to thank you for watching Apple Talk by Creative Computing. Again, I'm Jeff Gorman. Please visit Creative Computing for all your Apple needs, sales, or service. We're located at 423 Wall Street, across from the Princeton Airport. You can call us at 609-683-3MAC. Visit us online at www.creativecomputing.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, join our circle on Google+, sign up for our mailing list. We have lots of good information, and we look forward to seeing you. Mention this TV show, Apple Talk by Creative Computing, to any of our sales staff and receive 10% off on accessories, cases, etc. for your iPad, iPod. Thank you for watching Apple Talk by Creative Computing. I'd like to just recap what we talked about today. We talked about the new Apple iPad, the 3rd generation, with its Retina display, the A5X processor, 1080p video, and the 5 megapixel camera with the 10 face detection capability. It also has the Bluetooth 4.0, smart Bluetooth, 9 hours of battery life using everything, 1 gig of RAM, which I think everybody's going to really love, 9 hours of battery life. It will last. Great device. I recommend you come in and get one. It also is a wireless hotspot. I don't want to forget that point. Let it be a router for you in your car or on a camping trip, a picnic, whatever. We also talked about the Apple TV with 1080p video and its ability to stream from iCloud. Very nice device. It can pull your photos down. It can take movies and content right from the new iTunes Store at 1080p. Very nice. We discussed my thoughts on Apple making an actual television and how useful Siri would be on a real TV. I can see them putting Siri in all sorts of devices. Think of it on a computer. Launch Word, start typing. It could be really nice. You call Apple up, can I speak to Bob, or I need tech support, and Siri just routes the call. They can do so much with Siri. I'm waiting to see what happens with Siri. And other news, we talked about Britannica no longer being online, or in print, I mean, only online now. We talked about Quicken finally coming out with Quicken Lion version. We talked about OS 10.7.4, the latest version of Lion, coming out imminently, possibly by the time this airs. We talked about Apple's iWallet patent that they just got and the possible ways that they could integrate NFC technology. And we talked about a Trojan out there for the Mac called Flashback. So again, thank you very much for watching Apple Talk by Creative Computing, and see you next time.